Hello, fellow daytime lunatics. Here's another video from yours truly about Daymoon and our latest album, Wednesday. This one is going to take a little while because I'm going to throw in all sorts of stuff as I go along. Now, first of all, you might, if you've been following the band, you might wonder, have Daymoon become unpolitical? No. This album is not political, it's social, yes, in parts. We talked a lot about politics on our previous album, and nothing has changed. We're anti-fascists, period. All band members were handpicked by me to be anti-fascist. Thank you to my fellow musicians. Now, today I want to talk to you about Cocoon, the second last track on the album and the closing track of the suite Verschickungskind. All right. Now, just to recap, my parents sent me to a sort of sanatorium once a year, every summer, for about 6 weeks to become healthy, fat, and compliant. Not only my parents, not only me, millions of parents and dozens of millions of German children between the 50s and 80s. Anyways, Cocoon is the end of that. My father picks me up at the sanatorium, rescues me from what happened there, medical experiments, abuse, maltreatment, and so forth. He rescues me and takes me home to the family, and we're a happy family again, a Cocoon. Mom, Dad, my sister and me. But of course my parents said I had made up the whole thing. Nothing was true. And this is how you start repressing a traumatic experience. Now, you must excuse me if I every now and then sort of look to my left. I had to take notes for this one. So that's me looking at my notes. Now, how did I want to achieve the end of this? By a sort of reference to my parents' preferences. They loved operetta. Operetta was a sort of light opera, a style of light opera, very popular in the 19th century, especially towards the end, in Germany with composers like Lehar and Offenbach. Normally very much like pop music nowadays, like jingly, actually pretty bad stuff. And I wanted to write the end in that style, the happy family and all that, but move from a very, very melodic approach towards an increasingly dissonant sound. How did I do that? I kept the vocal melody with initially really harmonic and beautiful, simple chords or harmonies, and underneath that melody, I changed the harmony gradually into something very dissonant. I couldn't have pulled this off without Jeff Markham on the keyboards. He did he worked that out, how to make it sound really gruesome and strange and violent. In the beginning, in the first portion, you have Paul Schagers adding oboe, and my favorite instrument in the world, oboe in the most romantic manner. But the song then really decays into dissonance and violence, and then ends almost in silence when my parents tell me it's all made up and it's never happened. And then you hear some bells, which are the bells that they had at that sanatorium place. Some almost like church bells. That's all you hear, and the water dripping again from the very beginning of the suite. So this whole thing took half a year to compose and record. As I said, impossible without my fellow musicians, Jeff Markham, who did all the dissonant work on the piano, the progression, Paul Chagas, who added all the romantics to it, and then of course obviously Lavinia and Tiago with their theatrical skills, creating an actual operetta. Well, so the Cocoon is the end of a long suite, more bitter than sweet, because trauma lingers. Well, thank you very much for letting me share Cocoon, Verschickungskind, the suite, and the entire album with you. I shared it with my fellow musicians, and I shared it with you, dear listeners, which helps me a lot. Now, closing note on the entire album. Reviews have come out in the meantime, and I see a few people say, oh, well, the album is not very coherent. No, well, Daymoon music is not coherent. That's our whole point, isn't it? But with this particular album, I had in my mind, it was actually an LP, vinyl. You had side 1 with all the songs, if you will, and then you have the other side. Sorry, my phone is slipping. You have side 2, which is the suite Verschickungskind. If you are familiar with it, think Queen album number 2, which had a white side and a black side, and that's exactly how I imagine Wednesday. White side with the various songs, and the B side with the suite, the dark suite, and at the very end a closing track of closure, which is the healing. Well, that's it for today. Thank you ever so much for listening to me. And if you haven't bought Wednesday yet, do. We'd really love to do another album, and we need your help for that. Thank you so much.